Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, Teliano, is that you?
We back, baby.
This is episode 262, a palindrome of Mic Check, waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check, waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. It's where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story. It's where you can get access to after stories, take talks, and etc. We appreciate you guys for supporting us over there. As we do every time we get a new one, we'd like to give a special shout out to our new Patreon producer. I messaged him and asked me what name do he want to be called like a couple of weeks ago. He didn't respond. So I'm going to go with the name that he has in here. But shout out to Mr.Fluffles. He also joined the Discord like you can too. Thank you so much, Mr. Fluffles, for supporting us at the producer tier. We can't do the show without you. So welcome to the list of friends and family that support us over there. Shout out to the rest of the Patreon producers: Christian, the archivist; Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast; Fear, Get the Pro from Chaotic Culture. More on that later. Explicitly, All for One, Matt, Mazer, Altor, Monique Williams, Nachi. What's up, Nachi? Semi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, T Money Fingers is last, but he's certainly not least. Thank y'all so much for supporting us for as long as you have. We couldn't do the show without you. And shout out to Mr. Fluffles for joining us over there on Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu. Even if you're not a Patreon supporter, go to discord.miccheckwaifu.com. You can do it on your mobile app. You can do it on anywhere and join the Discord. A lot of great conversations happen over there. You also get updates on what's going on with us faster than Twitter does. So make sure you join that Discord because that is the best place to talk to us and have conversations on episodes that release in the forums. A lot of great discussions. So shout out to y'all for doing that. We appreciate it. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast. It's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. Every Tuesday, usually. We got some stuff to talk about. As for why we wasn't here last week, for those of you who are not in the Discord or who didn't see our Twitter message, because a lot of people don't have Twitter. Thank God most of our listeners don't use Twitter, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened. So we're going to talk about that here shortly, but thank you so much for your patience and understanding everywhere. The love y'all give us is unmatched. I swear we have the best anime podcast community in the fucking world. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul. We couldn't do this without y'all. So thank you so much for supporting us every single week, even if you're just listening, or even if you're a free member on our Patreon. We love each and every one of you. Or if you're the 10,000 plus people in our Facebook club or group or whatever it is, even though our presence is lackluster there. Thank you so much for supporting us. It doesn't even matter where you support us. Make sure you leave a review on the podcast, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All that stuff helps us out tremendously. We couldn't be here without y'all though. Again, I'm thankful every single week that I get to do this, and thankful for y'all for joining us. So thank you so much for that. Now with all that sappy stuff out the way, welcome back to the world of the living, brother. How you feeling?
I'm good now.
He's out of his stone ages.
Yeah. So as y'all know, Hurricane Burrow came through.
Hurricane Benadryl, as Christian calls it.
Yeah, right. Funny enough, though, one of the D&D characters I used to play, his name was Burrow. So it's crazy because it lines up with the name. But literally that same night after we recorded, I think we were up until like 1:30. Mm-hmm. About an hour later, my power went out. It came back on and then went out again. It came back on for like another 2 seconds and then went out again and ain't been back on. We just got power back on Wednesday.
Which is crazy. Was that 2 weeks?
Yeah, 9.5 to about 10 days is what it was. So yeah, I had no power. But you know, we had a generator running, that kind of stuff, but then that was like $40 a day just to have a generator running. So we went to a hotel instead for a bit, which arguably it's more expensive, but it wasn't. It was way more comfortable, than having to hear the generator go like a lawnmower engine nonstop. Right. But on the good side, it's a good week, man. I got to see my cousin do his first stand up. I had to watch it on YouTube, but it was hilarious. And this is my cousin who is a professional wrestler as well, but he's actually, I mean, he's pretty funny, and I know this from my family, but he's pretty funny, so it was nice to see that. But we good. How you feeling over there, Brolo?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Like I told you earlier, something came over me literally hours before we started recording, so if I sound a little different or down a little bit, it's got a weird sickness that popped out of nowhere, but I ain't gonna let that hinder my excitement I got for this week's episode of Mic Check Waifu. Because I'm so excited about recording this week. It seems like after we're going for just 1 week, just a 1 week break, which we rarely have done in the 5 years we've been doing this. The 1 week we've been gone felt like a fucking month. It felt so long, but we got a lot to talk about. So I guess without further ado, let's do further. Tell, what was your episode of the last 2 weeks? I guess it'll be.
I'm gonna go with my sleeper. And I know that's a little biased.
No, it's not.
But I don't care. It was good. Both episodes for me.
Nothing about what you're saying is wrong.
Both those episodes are really good, and I love the direction of it. Like, you know, how it looks, how it presents itself, how the characters are interacting and stuff like that. Yeah, bro. I'm actually pretty happy I chose this one as my sleeper.
Great A plus tier show. Man, for the last 2 weeks, I'm gonna have to give one to, if you would allow me to do two, since we've been gone for 2 weeks.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to give one to, you know what? I'm gonna give one to Makeine, I think it's called. Too Many Losing Heroines. One for that, for the first episode. That was a great first episode. And then the second to, I hate saying his name, but I have to. Days with My Stepsister. Because that show is fucking brilliant. I mean, it's early. It's only 3 episodes deep, I think. Yeah, 3 episodes deep. And it's already some of the best writing I've seen since My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu. It is extremely high for writing when it comes to these particular characters that I can't wait to talk about it more. But it's so much stuff we got to talk about because for those of you that don't know, and the new and the uninitiated, we cover seasonal anime every season. It's kind of a nice structure we have going on with this stuff. So normally a couple of weeks ago, we would continue to talk about the new shows that popped in because summer wasn't completely out 2 weeks ago. So the following week, we would have talked about the new shows that came in. And then this week, we would have our cut week, which is episode 3s of all the new shows that came out this summer. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine the two, talk about the new shows and talk about the cut shows, including some of the ones that are Patreon supporters and supporters in our Discord put inside of a form. So shout out to y'all for doing that. But yeah, it's quite a bit of stuff to talk about. Like I tell today, like today, since I didn't get to watch much anime yesterday, I had to watch 17 shows today because in 2 days, 17 shows drop. And it doesn't include a couple of shows that were out last season as well, but it's a lot of stuff this summer. And when I say this is probably one of my favorite summers ever that we've ever done, and in the 5 years we've been doing this, it is already. So let's talk about some of that. Now, one of the new shows that I watched was out a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't watch it yet. Tell watched it. He talked to me about it, and he said that, give it a try. And it's the Ossan Newbie Adventurer, tainted to death by the most powerful trained to death by the most powerful party and became invincible. This is one that I picked up. I watched all the episodes, which is just 3 episodes out right now. And yeah, it was surprisingly good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Oh, okay. I enjoyed it up to a point. Let me just preface this by saying I enjoyed it up to a point because the first 2 episodes were so annoying that I couldn't handle it for a lot of it. And then the 3rd episode dropped. And I was like, okay, it made up for it 100% because, and I said this in our Discord too, shout out to Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Rob, and our Patreon producer. I told him, I'm like, man, I like this show. Like, I'm enjoying the story of it, and the character for the most part. It's just that he's my age, 32 years old, and the obscene whining and complaining is just unbearable. It was unbearable to tolerate for the first 2 episodes because he was just complaining like, "Oh, I'm not strong enough. I'm going to lose. I'm going to get hurt." And it was ridiculous. I get the shtick and everything, but it was getting a little ridiculous for the lack thereof situational awareness. Like, nobody at 32 would be that oblivious to what he is or is able to do, even if you train for just 2 years. It was 2 years. Right. Like, why are you that? Why you don't realize that you train with these strong motherfuckers
he
put through hell and didn't think that, oh, I'm probably going to be better than everybody else. So that was a little frustrating at first until episode 3 when a switch was flipped, fighting one of the trainers in that episode. I'm not going to get into too much spoilers because it's 3 episodes deep, but I do feel like this is one worth checking out if you like silly comedy and fun fights and just fun characters overall. I do enjoy it.
And I would like to say that 100% that like this was on the verge of being cut.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But that 3rd episode, and it's not to say that like it was just blowing out of the water good, but it really set a different precedent. It changes essentially the flow of what you expect the show to be. So it made me willing to continue with it.
Exactly.
So yeah, bro, I see exactly what you mean. I agree with exactly what you said. Because now it does feel like an actual show now, not a whining fest.
A complete whining face. It was a struggle to get through. I'm sitting like, come on, man. You can't be this oblivious. It's a little frustrating.
Right.
And if you would allow me to go again,
Go ahead.
Because I got a nice little order set up here. There was one that surprisingly blew me away, and it's funny because it's not. It did blow me away in a drastic way. The score went up from what it was, but it is. We talked about this during the I believe it was a live show when we were going over the season. Maybe it was a live show or the season before that or the episode before that, but it was no longer allowed in another world.
Okay. Yeah.
This one shocked me because we talked about it when we did our summer preview episode, but you said it was done by the same people who made that whatever that other one was. What was it called? Yeah, here it is. Uncle from Another World. That comedy didn't hit well with me, but in this one, No Longer Allowed in Another World was brilliant. So I'm going to spoil episode 1, even though there's 2 episodes out now. So it's just spoiling episode 1 just to give you a taste of what it is and if you wanted to add it to your anime list or not. So No Longer Allowed in Another World starts off with this Arthur and his girlfriend, wife. I'm not exactly sure what she is. I believe she's his wife. They're attempting to. I don't want to say this for YouTube purposes, but fuck it. They're attempting to commit double suicide together. Okay, they're stringed by love. They tied by a string for love, and they're attempting to. I believe it was like jump off of something, but they end up getting hit by a truck. Okay, Truck-kun is back. Now, what shocked me about this show in particular is that it gave a backstory to Truck-kun, and it was the funniest fucking conversation I've seen about this particular trope in isekai anime that I die laughing for, because me and Tel always talk about Truck-kun all the time being a prominent character in these isekais that we love so much. Mm-hmm. But it was a backstory given by his host that he met the first time he was summoned to this new world. And she was telling the story she told about Truck-kun is that Truck-kun is literally there to save people in dire quote unquote save people in dire situations who are at the end of their ropes in life, to bring them to another world, to give them a new chance at life and saving a new world by giving them tremendous powers and et cetera, et cetera. But come to find out that Truck-kun hit them essentially on accident, and he doesn't have a lot of powers, but this author's ultimate goal is to just die a peaceful death. And in this, what this anime is about him trying to die in any way that he possibly can and failing miserably. And when I tell you it is such a fun watch, it looks great. It's a show I enjoy very, very much. How do you feel about it?
I actually haven't started this one yet.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I honestly, I didn't think you were gonna like it from I remember your previous, I'm gonna say, diagnosis of what was it? The uncle from another world.
Yeah, that comedy was terrible to me.
So I just thought we weren't gonna watch it, but now that I'm hearing this praise, especially if it's funny, I'm inclined to watch it. Because hear me out, I've already got about 3 or 4 anime on this list that genuinely have made me laugh. Yeah. Maybe even more than that, especially with the slice of life ones. Mm-hmm. I have some anime in this list that have genuinely made me laugh. So if I can add another actually good comedy to this, I'll definitely be with it. So yeah, I will definitely bring that to conversation next week because that excites me.
You will. I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. I do think you're going to thoroughly enjoy it just as much as I have because of. I think it's the comedy that appeals to both of us, and it reminds me of that Full Dive anime that we watched.
Oh,
it's just
yeah,
hilarious. It's that kind of comedy.
It was nonsense, but it wasn't like all nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it is very, very tasteful comedy that I am thoroughly enjoying. I would just say this: his favorite way of getting around traveling. This is still in episode 1, so it's not that big of a deal. But his favorite way of traveling is being pulled in a coffin.
Oh my goodness! All right,
it's so good. It's such a good show, man. I'm blown away. It got a 69% nice on AniList, so it's looking popular. When the first episode dropped, it was like a 62, and I was shocked by that. I'm like, what the fuck? Is something wrong with my taste? But no, it shot up after episode 2 because it just does nothing but get better from there.
So you did mention a couple of good ones. I don't know. Did you watch Why Does Nobody Remember Me in This World?
Yes.
Now you mentioned a couple of good ones, and I'm not saying this one is good because I have a very mixed feeling on this one. Bro,
we are brothers for real.
And I almost feel like a 69% might be too high because of how mixed I am.
Phil, this is so crazy. If you're about to say what I think you're about to say, I swear to goodness, it's going. Okay, go ahead and say it because I think we're on the same page.
It's got the bones. I don't know if I care though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this. It's kind of fresh. It's kind of like the idea, the concept. I kind of like it. But also, it's not really doing anything to sink its teeth into me. And it's almost like it's happening too fast, if that makes sense.
Is that so crazy?
It's like,
this is so crazy, Montel. This is crazy, bro.
Is that how you feeling?
Let me tell you. Okay. For those of you who didn't hear, it's Why Does Nobody Remember Me in This World? Episode 1 started off great. I'm watching them like, oh, this shit might be something amazing. Like, it looked good. Everything was flowing nicely. We're getting to know the base world and everything going. And then the incident happens and he gets teleported. And then episode 2 comes out. Episode 2 came out this week. So if this was last week, we would have a completely, I believe, I'm going to speak for my brother here. I believe that we would have 2 completely different conversations because episode 1 was a banger at first. At first, it was so good. And I'm like, yo, this is so interesting. It's fresh. Like you said, it was unique as far as this concept goes. And I was all for it. Then episode 2 happens. When episode 2 happens, it just feels like everything is teleporting. Like everything everything is just happening so fast. All of a sudden, it's a companion. All of a sudden, this companion is like, at first she hates humans and don't want to be near humans, and all of a sudden she's super comfortable and about to help the human. It was all happening in such a jarring pace that I'm like, what the fuck is my mind was
all over the place. It was jumbled, like the director or writer did not know what they actually wanted to do.
Bro, the director and writer was on 2 separate sides of the country communicating through 6 different people. It felt like a game of telephone. It was crazy.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I feel like the concept was there.
Yes.
But that 69%, especially after this episode, I'm like, I don't know, bro.
It's gonna drop massively after now, I think because episode 2, I believe, came out yesterday? Yeah. It came out yesterday. So with that, like, people are gonna see him like, well, what the fuck is going on? I got a feeling they're gonna stick with us on this one because it was so jarring till. It was like, at first you were sad as you came to this world, and if episode 1 it was impactful.
It was
impactful. It was dramatic because you're losing what was your childhood friend in the middle of nowhere, out of nowhere.
and they established it, which is what made it great. That's what made the first episode actually good. They established kind of this setting, the characters and stuff like that, and it's perfectly understandable that because that's the name of the anime, right? We're expecting for that to kind of happen, but it's like the way it happened was like, I feel like, yeah, it was supposed to be jarring in a sense, but it was a little too jarring as a viewer. It was
jarring to the point where it didn't make sense because of the simple fact that as soon as he gets his companion, they seem to be closer than he ever was with his childhood friend, which is so strange. Like, what? And you met her for what? It was like, I think 2 days passed. I don't even know what the fuck happened. It was just shit happening kind of like in a montage form at one point where I was confused. And then Black Clover style, he get this magical power and he's a demon with it almost instantly. And I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry for the spoilers, but trust me, you will be okay. It was like, what the hell? Like, what is happening here?
Then they have a council meeting and that happened super quick. It's like, what is, y'all are just all over the place.
Let's go fight the big bad right now.
Yeah, let's get to the end of the story in the second episode. What happens in episode 3?
It was such a strange and jarring watch that I'm like, is this the same show that I just watched last week? I was so confused. I do want to give a very special shout out to Crystal Sleeper, one of our Patreon supporters who's been supporting us forever. She listens to almost every episode. She's a gem in our community. I love her to death. But it's Dahlia and Bloom, crafting a fresh start with my magical tools. I checked this one out, and it's a Crystal Sleeper. You don't lose. You don't lose ever when you pick a Crystal Sleeper or watch a Crystal Sleeper. It's a very interesting slice of life. It's the opposite of what we just talked about, and everything is happening at a very nice pace, where it's building, it's letting you get to know the character and grow with the character, and stuff happens, but it's not like episode 1 that everything happens. It is an isekai, but it's not like episode 1 everything happens. It's happening in the span of these 3 episodes, and the capstone to episode 3 was so well done that I'm extremely excited to see where this goes next, because if it continues at this pace, I'm looking forward to what's about to spark. This is another shoujo joint. Shout out to y'all and the community for getting me in this shoujo bag, because I am invested now. I love it to death. It's great. It's a great show.
I just want to say, what was your it was the what was your sleeper of last season, right? It was the one with So I understand. You just know this is what I'm saying when I'm gonna get to it in that point, is that essentially Dahlia and Bloom, the episode 2, I was almost like, I'm gonna go ahead and stop watching this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of the writing, it wasn't because of like Dahlia, because I feel like we already kind of had a concept of what kind of person she was from the first episode. So it was reasonable. I got it. But that that man,
you could say it.
I was almost like, go ahead and turn this shit off, because I was very upset. But episode 3, they brought it back, my guy. They brought it back, and I was like, Dahlia, you know what? Like, go ahead and talk to that trade guild the way you needed to.
Yeah,
make sure you get all your coins
straight up. Because what it was, like I said, it starts again. You growing and learning. But then you think about the situation she was put in order, like, to have to marry this guy. To be honest, they're both in fucked up situations, right? Like it's a forced marriage to help solidify a name, and that happens in times of this nature. But to be, go ahead.
He had big hater energy, and I ain't like that. Yeah, that is what blew me.
Instead of like support, yeah.
If it's one thing to say you're very talented, and I think that your talent is a little too
overwhelming for him.
Too overwhelming, and we need to like find a way where we can balance it. You can have a conversation like that.
It's an anime. They gotta have some mess.
Yeah. Even then, having a conversation like that is wild. Yeah. But it's like, I'm just saying that, like, the way that it presented itself in episode 2, I was like, I need you to go ahead and create a bazooka.
I think Crystal mentioned that she was pissed off about that episode too.
Yeah, attach a fire crystal and an air crystal and make it a big rock in the middle and rocket launcher, boom, blow away, because I was salty. But it's so good because it's written in a way that, like, it's believable. It's written in a way that it feels like, even though this is an isekai, another world, this doesn't feel like we're too separated from our current world in a sense. You know what I mean? So I do really, really enjoy it. And that's why I think I was so upset with episode 2.
Yeah, I agree. I was with you, right? Again, if we would have had this conversation last week, it would have been a different conversation. But no, it's 100% in the same place you are.
That 65% is kind of crazy, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes I need to be so wrong. It's crazy. You got anything else?
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot.
Yeah. I already talked about Monogatari last time, didn't I?
Yeah.
I think it's, like I said, still direction wise is beautiful. I want to talk about one I feel like I'm gonna drop, but I want to hear your perspective on this one.
Okay.
Let me look at the score first. 61%. Got it. How you feeling about Failure Frame, my good brother?
Okay. This is an interesting one.
And I say that because first episode they give us this precedent of what we're expecting, right? We still felt like a little iffy about that first episode. Second episode, I felt like, we got some progress, we got some development, we got a lot of good stuff coming. With the second episode, I felt like we were getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. This third episode, I was like, do we have an actual, like, I know we have direction, I know we do, but do we? It feels disconnected in a sense.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if I want to drop it, but I still want to see where it goes. I want to see where it goes, but I feel like I can already see it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Like, I can see that obviously these characters are going to be correlating in some sense, but it's like, why this? I don't know. I have too many whys. Why this specific action? Why this specific goal? And I get it because of how he started off in this world.
Yeah. Failure Frame. And this is the thing about Failure Frame. When I say this, it's not a good show. Okay. It's not captivating in any way. It doesn't look good. Maybe in one or two parts for some weird reason. It looks fucking beautiful. Like in episode 3 when this person, this hooded figure, does her skills, which takes 25 minutes to cast. I don't know what the fuck she gonna do with a 25-minute cast time, but that's neither here nor there. It looks beautiful sometimes. It looks absolutely awful most of the time. Excuse me. But for some reason, and this would be a damn droppable show if I didn't want the main character to get his get back.
I swear.
I don't care about anything else but the main character and his get back. I need to see his get back when he eventually gets get back. So it is terrible. I'm not going to recommend it to anybody. It's a drop if you got too much on your list and you're trying it out. Definitely don't watch it. It's not great. But if you want a revenge tale and you are free to watch an extra episode of anime after you watch everything else and you like revenge stories, I think this one might just be worth just kind of sticking through. Tough it out. You're not going to be blown away. It's not good. I'm going to tell you that it's not good at all. But the get back might be extremely satisfying enough to the point where it was worth the side story. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give it the benefit of an after story title. The side story of, a show that you watch after you watch everything else.
Yeah, heavy on the after you watch everything else.
Real big heavy.
Because it's like he said, I want to watch it. I do. I'm compelled to. Yeah. But it's not because anything is necessarily good about this. And it sucks because like the power is actually dope. I actually think that's pretty interesting.
And something happens in episode 3 that is super intriguing. It made me laugh extremely hard. But it's like one thing, because it was, fuck it, I'm going to spoil it. Okay. It's Failure Frame. Who gives a shit? It was when the jock who was bullying him in episode 1 said, he does a skill, Divine Lightning, whatever the fuck he does. He does a skill. He says, yes, that puts me at level 18. And then we see our character and he's level 1728. I swear. Died laughing. I'm like, oh, this shit is hilarious.
We over here like big flexing.
Why this jock that bullied him and fucking basically trounced him is getting level 18 and he was level 1700 at the same time as his
infinite mana pool.
It's pretty hilarious, but I don't give a fuck about none of the students. I don't care about none of the factions they got developing or whatever the fuck the bullshit they got going on. I don't care about none of that. I just want to see the get back. Just show me the get back. That's it. But I am intrigued about these forbidden spells. I am kind of interested to see what that's about to be because he doesn't really have much in the way of like fun attacks. You know, it's just it's basically two things that layer with each other, which is cool. But
rinse and repeat.
But it's very repetitive, so they gotta bring something new in, even though it's terrible. Okay, so that was the first cuttable show. I'm gonna go into another one. But for some reason, I don't think I can.
Go ahead. I think I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
It's My Wife Has No Emotion.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, it's not a good show, but I don't think I can drop it. But it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I'm going to swing over to Discord. Shout out to our Patreon producer, All For One Matt. I put it out of form and I said, leave all your cuts this week. We're going to discuss the shows we missed and talk about shows that we are cutting because the 3 episodes for most stuff is out. And All For One Matt, one of our Patreon producers, says my cuts, nobody's way to an exploration hero. Nobody's way to an exploration hero. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. He said I didn't care for the characters. 2, he says the magical girl and the evil lieutenant, just simply don't care for it after the 2nd episode. And then 3, My Wife Has No Emotions, wasn't feeling it. And I understand. It doesn't feel like it's a romance that you can absolutely root for.
And I told you it was weird.
Yeah, it's like
I told you.
Very weird. And I'm like, I gotta try it out because it's a romance. You know, romance is my shit. And it's just strange. It just feels strange. And it's 4 episodes out of this one. Watched all of them in like a day.
But what about it is compelling? And that's the thing is like, it's not that it's good. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the same boat you in.
You asked such a great question.
What about it is compelling? Because I also, like I said, I agree. This is very weird. This is very, and I mean this in the most respectful way. I'm a neat kind of show. I'm a shut in. I don't talk to anybody. This is exactly what this show is. But okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't like it feels wrong. Everything about it feels wrong. But I'm like, I don't really like it's not bothering me as it should. I think it's a weird fucking thing because it's literally a robot who has no emotions. And this guy, a loner guy, decides to marry her.
It's the interactions.
But the thing with the interactions is and after episode 4 is gradually starting to become something that is like, what can this become? And that's why I'm compelled to watch it more. Because what can this become is the strongest question I have in my brain right now with this particular show. And I don't hate looking at it. Like every time I'm watching, I'm like, fuck, I don't feel like watching this shit. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's confusing. It's a very confusing emotion that I am not in tune with myself. I don't understand this emotion that I'm feeling when I watch this show, but I'm compelled to continue watching it, even though it's droppable. And All For One Matt, no fault of like, there's no blame for not watching it. Wasn't feeling it. It's like the best way of describing what this show is. Like I don't feel it either, but I'm compelled to watch. I don't know.
I swear to you, we're sure it's those interactions.
Yes,
because it's that inhuman interaction, but the inhuman becoming more human. Mm-hmm. It does feel that way.
Yes.
So
where's this going? It's so frustrating because I'm 32 years old and I feel like I was in tune with all of my emotions, but I can't figure out what I feel when I watch this show at all. Like I don't know it's like. I don't feel good. I don't feel bad. It's just I'm indifferent, but I want to know what the fuck, how. It's strange, especially with the little sister and her weirdness. It's very strange. It's very strange, but I guess I'm here for it. Again, droppable show. It's not dropped from my list, funny enough. Weird, man. Weird. What you got? Oh my goodness.
All right. Tasuketsu, Fate of the Majority.
Yes. This is one I didn't touch and won't touch.
I hate this show. I will definitely be dropping this.
Yeah. I understand.
And it's not that
you gave it a chance too. I'm proud of you.
It's the death game. It's a death game show, which initially for me, I don't think the death game concept is bad. I'm gonna just be real. It's the MC dying in the first episode and then being resurrected immediately after.
Yeah. No staying power.
I get the concept behind why they did it, because technically the players get to make a rule change every time they kind of get this ballot entered. Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
You know
None of these characters are likable either.
You know what it reminds me of when you speak of this? King's Game, one of the worst anime ever reviewed, ever. And it's a deaf game as well, and it is such a terrible show. Like, no matter who you talk to, you can ask anybody who likes anime. I've never seen a community more united than X-Arm and King's Game. Like, those are the two worst animes of all time. And it's like the anime community is unified when it comes to this fucking show. It's terrible. But that's every time you describe it, or the two times you describe it, I should say, was reminiscent of that time King's Game came out. And I watched all of it, and it was the worst experience of my life. I don't even know why I forced myself to do it. It was terrible. What's King's Game AniList rating?
I just look at X-Arm being 21%.
Yeah, it's a united community. King's Game came out in 2017. It's a 45%, so it's very similar to Tasuketsu, whatever the fuck. It's terrible. That's what we do this show, because to help you determine on what you should not waste your time with, and that is definitely one of them. I do think a show that is new that I picked up that I do think everybody should try, and it's giving me God, we got so much good shit to talk about still. It's giving me Vivi vibes, but in a different way. Okay, it's not combative. It's not anything like that. It's pretty. It's gorgeous. The world is unique and kind of nerve wracking, but it's arty. It's arty. My dear moments. It's about this. The world is okay. The perfect way to describe it. The effects of global warming happen. The sea level rises, and literally entire cities is buried in water. Okay. Everybody is trying to survive by being up in higher elevations and living in like mountain cities and stuff like that. And their schools, everything is basically sinking, for lack of a better term, because of the water levels rising. It's this kid whose grandmother was a scientist back in like 10 years before this actually happened in his particular province. And he lost his leg during the collapse of water coming rushing in, and he's trying to find ways to find remnants of his grandmother's experiments, because she was one of the scientists that worked on trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the world and if there's anything they can do. He uses a submarine, go down to his old house, and he comes across this android who was designed by his grandmother, who is very humanoid and very a high quality, or as she calls herself, a high performance robot with, it seems to be emotions and just very much a character within herself. That's the complete opposite of my wife has no emotions. It's his story of him finding that robot and trying to sell her, or is going to attempt to sell her in order to get himself a better prosthetic leg so he can then help continue his grandmother's research. And so far, the first 2 episodes that dropped was extremely interesting, man. It's a character I want to root for, only because he's very gloomy and drab and down, but it's understandable because he has PTSD from losing his leg he suffers from, and he's struggling with having a old school prosthetic in the time where there are more advanced prosthetics and robot technology. And he just wants to figure out a way, because his dream was always to go to space and figure out what the hell is going on. So he's trying to do whatever he can to achieve that goal. And this robot is both annoying and endearing at the same time. It's a very interesting story. Beautiful as all hell. I mean, I'm talking like it looks as appealing as summertime rendering. Not fully up there with Vivi, but it's very, very visually appealing, and is visually appealing. And it's 72% on AniList. It's done by a studio named Trio Yuka. And they did Overtake. So if you worried about how it looks, they've done Overtake. They've done a lot of. That looks good. It looks very good. They've done a lot of good stuff. They did Lord Elmaloy's in his Case Files. You remember that show? So they did that. They did quite a bit of stuff. So
I added that to my list now. Yeah, that sounds like great praise to me, and I will definitely turn that one on. Speaking of good stuff. Mm-hmm. All you want to talk about It's Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the one we talked about last time. When I tell you this one got even better. It gets even better every episode.
This cannot get dropped.
Oh my goodness.
If you drop this from your list, I'm judging you. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And this is what makes this summer one of the best summers ever. Because normally when summers come around, there's always one or two shows that are spectacular that we just live for. That's like, yo, this shit is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is it. But this season has a lot of stuff that is high tier good. That is hard to want to drop. And this is one of them, man. This is truly, again, it's a fire summer. It's truly a fire summer because of this show.
Yeah. And it's really the wholesomeness of it and the unsuspectingness of it. The characters are good in their own dynamic in ways. It's multi-layered. Even the sister being as weird as she is, kind of in a way, like the story that we get talked about, and that even the show is like touching on things. You know how we just talked about how sometimes things were just happening too fast.
Yes.
It didn't feel that way. Like, even with dispersing all this information about the sister and the brother and the family, and then getting into continuation with the story, it's like they gave it to us in such a digestible manner, while keeping the show exactly as soft and wholesome as it has been since the first episode. It's enjoyable, bro. You're
spitting. I mean, it's again one of the top, literally 4 shows this summer season that is above anything else. I mean, like this is in this tier of its own. It has an 80% or 79% on any list for a particular reason, and it is special. It's truly, truly a special show that's very unique when it comes to like the dynamic of what is happening. Everything that just happened that we got in each episode, something that happens in each episode blows your fucking mind. Like, boom. Like and I want to do an episode about this probably next week. I think next week would be a great time to do that. But going through our Discord episode conversations and looking at the conversations that is brought about from shows and how popular it is in our forums, because a lot of our forum discussions have like 80 something conversation like bits in it, and this is one of them that I feel like is going to be top tier, along with one I'm going to recommend that I'm going to talk about here shortly. But this is one of the best shows I've seen in a very long time. It's so good, man. And I don't even want to talk anything about it. This is going to be one that's going to be in our spoiler talks eventually, but I can't.
Oh yeah.
I can't fathom anybody not watching this. Whether you are into romance or not, I think you should watch it because it is that great of a show. Truly, truly special. To go into something that is new, even though I want to go into something else that isn't a little bit later, but Love is Indivisible by Twins. This is another one that is truly, truly spectacular. The 67 is not warranted. Again, this is like the trifecta of romance anime because of these ones that I'm about to go to in like this order. Alya being the best one. Indivisible by Twins is something uniquely special that it will spark the conversation that we had last season when it came to My Sleeper, which I still can't remember what the hell the name of it was. I don't know. I don't know how I'm forgetting about it because it was a big deal and it gave us a lot of great conversation. But this one is interesting. Love is Indivisible by Twins is about a kid, 3 children in high school. But it starts off, episode 1 is brilliantly done, brilliantly written, and well told. It's a story about 2 twins that move into their next door neighbor. This guy, I don't get his name. I don't want to mess this up. June. And they move next door to June. And June is a student of reading, a student of just lore and nerdiness, and just he's a cool dude that we will all relate to if you are into anime like we are. He's just a cool, very smart guy, very mature for his age, and he was like that since he was a kid. These 2 twins move in, and 2 twins gradually goes up with him from childhood. They grow up with him, and it is this story of both of these twins falling in love with him. And it's all in episode 1, so it's not too much of a surprise. But one of the twins is extremely sports oriented, who's into makeup and hair and all this, and the usual, the girl stuff. And you got another twin who's into the nerdy stuff. And they both love him. And it's a very unique dynamic between these two, because when they get to high school, the popular one decides to say, let's date. And then there's a story wrapped around that is extremely interesting, because I'm not going to say anything else from there, but it is extremely thought provoking in a sense, because it's like, who's wrong, right? Who's right? It's like the conversation that happens in our Discord is, I mean, it's massive. I wish I can't see how many, you look in Discord, how many conversation bubbles does it have for this particular one already?
In the forum?
Yeah, it should be in the top, should be the third one, but it's an interesting conversation. Or it may be different from the browser, I don't know. But
yeah, that one has 38 bubbles right now.
So it's only 2 episodes out so far. And the conversation is like, who's wrong here? How do you feel about what she did to him and what she's doing to her? And it's a thought-provoking show that is extremely interesting to know where this is going to go as far as the situation that June and these twins are in. And I love June as a character. Like, he's one of the best. He's a top tier male character for me, in my opinion. Like, he's just here, man, just trying to make it. He's not a shut in or anything. He's just a normal kid, and it feels good to watch normalcy in anime when it comes to this particular type of topic and situation that we don't normally get. Normally it's a rom-com that's very frustrating and over dramatic, right? Over dramatized, that you don't really get to gel with that much, but this is not one of them.
Yeah. Now to piggyback off of that, since you're talking about twins, a journey through another world raising kids while adventuring. So
before we get to that though, can we go to the trifecta of the 3 anime romance?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Days with My Stepsister. Yep. Are you caught up on this one? 3 episodes is out.
I'm not caught up.
Okay, please catch up, because again, this is one of the best written shows I've watched, and it surprised me because I'm shocked at how good it's written. Days with My Stepsister is not how it sounds. I don't know if it will be how it sounds even later, but this show is fucking fantastic. And somebody posted a meme, and I believe it's an anime talk in our Discord. But yeah, valid shit post. One of our Patreon producers posted in our Discord, and it's the Summer 24 Holy Sister Trinity, and it has Indivisible by twins, Days with My Stepsister, and Alya that we just talked about earlier. These are like, and I'm not sister stuff, but just great shows with tremendous writing. I truly do believe this. Like, these 2 characters are both very mature for their age. The guy who's with his father, whose mother walked out on him, and who has to take care of his kind of clumsy father. So he's preparing his lunches and doing house chores, and he's working to try to get himself into college so he doesn't put any pressure on his father. It's an endearing story with this character, and everything about him is mature and adult, and again, not that bumbling typical bullshit that we hate. And then his father meets a lady who he loves and wants to marry, and he marries her, and she has a daughter who is mature, who takes care of her mother, who's trying to do whatever she can to work. And she gets rumors spread about her, and she's just kind of tolerating it because of certain situations that's going on that we are discovering as the show goes on. This show is extremely special, and I truly feel like it's worth everybody to watch. And again, don't let this name fool you. This is Fierce, our Patreon producer, Sleeper. What a banger of a pick. This is a fantastic, fantastic show. And it's beautiful too. Gorgeous looking show.
Now, I do want to say, since you are saying this is like the trifecta, this is a trifecta of, like, are you saying romance? Or just like slice of life? Just
slice of life would be the better.
Because hear me out. And I know that we haven't necessarily made it to this point specifically. Mm-hmm. But Shoshimin?
Oh, yeah.
How to Become Ordinary? I understand, but it's something about the simplicity yet unrevealingness of this show that I love. And and hear me out. I understand that, like, because I do love Alya sometimes hides feeling in Russian, and I only watched the first episode of Days with My Stepsister. And I thought that I agreed that we agreed that the writing there was definitely above average. It was definitely good. But it's something about Shoshimin that when I'm watching it, bro, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's extremely beautiful.
It's like
the characters are like, yeah, the characters are mysterious, yet like they're very, it seems like they're open to each other.
Yeah.
And I love this show.
Bro, you mentioned it about it being simplistic. And after today's episode, I believe it was today episode, it's not. It is deeper than that. It's so
and that's
much,
what I meant. It's simplistic but unrevealing is what I mean. You know what I mean?
Okay, that was well put then, because it blew my fucking mind at how at first I'm watching, I'm like, wait, this can't be this simple puzzle Sherlock Holmes shit. And then the way they're figuring out is cool. It's awesome. It's dope. But there's more. There's so much more that is so deeply entrenched within the two main characters that I'm like, I'm blown away. And then like the way it scene transitions to like inside of their mind, the way they kind of look at it, it is.
Yeah.
It's blowing my mind, especially with this episode that just happened. It's almost like Japan knows, or anime in general knows about the 3-episode rule, because some people, and forgive me, I'm not trying to look down on anybody or say that my taste is better than yours, or whatever this is about to come off as, because that's not it. I'm just saying what comes to my mind because I was born that way. I feel like people will find this quote unquote boring. And the reason why I say that people will probably exactly. The reason why I say that because it only has it was a 65 2 days ago, but it's a 72 now. But I feel like they thought it was boring because it was simple. It seemed simple and surface level at first, but it always had this underlying like, why would they want to become ordinary? What makes them extraordinary in the first place? So it was always that creeping into my head, and when shit happens, it's like, oh wow, it's very captivating so far. And that's how Hyoka was too. It's both the same. Hyoka was more lighthearted and with a comedic beat to it. This seems super serious, deep, and mysterious.
And I love that kind of a ending. I wouldn't necessarily say ending line, but when she said that, it's almost like when I first met you.
Oh my God. For those of you who watched episode 3 know exactly what we're talking about.
I was like, oh, you got me.
You got me. I'm in.
You got me. I was already there. I was already there.
Yeah.
You got me. And I was sold.
Yeah.
Because the show is exactly everything you said, and the same thing is constantly in my head. What makes them extraordinary? What makes them abnormal or not ordinary? And it's like, is it because of how they perceive the world? Is it because of how they move? And we're seeing they're clearly just different.
Yeah.
But to each other, they don't seem that way. They don't act that way to each other. So to me, it's like, it's almost as if this regression or step towards ordinary for them brings them to like a deeper understanding, even amongst themselves, of like what they love about each other. It might be, and I'm not even sure if this is a romance, but I'm just so enthralled in what this is, bro.
Yeah,
I love this. This is one of my favorites for the season. This is like, to me, this is like top 2.
I'm with you. I want to say I can't wait to see what is Osanai's thing. We know what it was in Kabuto's thing is. I can't wait to find out what Osanai thing is. So moving on. Okay, so one of the shows that I'm going to drop, or that I already dropped, that I should say that excuse me, that Crystal, and I dropped it. I think I dropped it 2 weeks ago, but I'm gonna speak on it now. I'm gonna just say it again, and I'm gonna bring in Crystal here. But it's she says the obvious one that she's cutting is quality assurance, and then I want to bring in also Frozen, another Patreon producer. He says after watching the 3rd episode, this is getting harder and harder to watch. So I believe he's probably going to drop it too. It's not good. It's not good. Shout out to Dad Needs to Talk, who is a dad, so it kind of makes it easier for him. But because it's dubbed and done, but I think he's going to stick it through. He don't mind it because it's dubbed and easy to watch, but it's not a good show. And I don't think anybody would tell you that it is. It looks bad. It's uninteresting, and I dropped it after episode 1. So this is probably the only one that's like a for sure drop. Like everything else, obviously everything we mentioned, fatal frame or failure frame, yeah, drop. My wife has no emotion, drop if you're watching it. Or if you're interested, keep it if you want. But those are the ones that are for sure drop. But to go to one more thing that's new, and new for me, it's thanks to our producer, All For One Matt, who mentioned it. He was about to drop it or in his drops, but it's Nobody's Way Up to Exploration Hero. I picked it up. It was 3 episodes out at the time. I watched all 3 episodes in a day. It's not good. I completely understand why he drops it, because you can't care about the characters. However, I want to see where it goes. I am Tail raised his hand for the podcast listeners.
Same, because like, hear me out, and I say that because I had it on, and I want to say this in contrast to A Journey Through Another World, Raising Kids While Adventuring.
Okay, good.
I turned my brain off on watching this one, but it's like, okay. It's
like a Saturday morning cartoon that you can miss an episode and come back to it in like the middle of the season and still be okay.
Right, and it's kind of about the character interactions and stuff is kind of okay. Mm-hmm. It's not that it's like good in any sense of the word, but I'm like, okay, like I can watch this.
That's exactly how I feel.
And I've seen things that I would rather not waste my time on. And I say that, like I said, what I was bringing up before when we talk about twins, A Journey Through Another World, Raising Kids While Adventuring.
Okay.
I'm a dad, and no.
Maybe this show is not worth watching.
Yeah, it's actually boring. And I don't and it's not that like the parenting aspect of it is boring. It's not like the understanding aspect of it is boring. It just feels like it's not going to go anywhere. And I know that it's supposed to. I know that they're writing it that way. I don't care. The kids instantly like him, but now they're wary of every other living thing that looks like him. They're also super talented, which is okay. I don't mind super talented children. Show's not good though. I dropped it 13 minutes ago.
Damn. The one I dropped that a lot more people are enjoying that I'm just not. Has a 71% on listen. It's not that I'm not enjoying it because the show is bad. I don't enjoy the structure of the show, and that's Pseudo Harem. I'm not going to keep. I didn't watch episode 3. I barely can get through episode 2, only because it doesn't have any permanence to it. And what I mean by that is, in romance anime, for those of you who are experienced in the slice of life romance anime genre, there was a Christmas episode inside of this episode that has 17 other scenarios in it that lasted 2 minutes. And everybody that watch anime, specifically slice of life romance anime, knows that Christmas episodes are big fucking deal. You ever seen Toradora? You ever seen any other slice of life that is like Christmas episodes are huge?
Coon's Revenge.
Yes, they're some of the biggest, most important situations that happen in romance. And it's just as like thrown up on you. For
Your Sleeper last season.
Yeah, exactly. Very important Christmas episode. It was just kind of puked on you for 3 minutes and then moved on to another scenario, and you don't know what date it is. You don't know what happened. You don't know where or why or what. It's just great characters and a fantastic concept if it was a structured romance anime. Outside of that, it's just a scenario ship. And I can play if I want to play a scenario ship, I'll just play a dating sim.
Yeah. And what it is exactly what you're talking about. The structure of it is like, it's set up in this way where like everything happens so quickly, but it's exactly what you said. Like each interaction is almost like a minute and a half. It's not even 2 minutes. They're not even 2 minute interactions with these like different happenings. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm good on this one too.
Well, why would you care about anything, right?
Yeah, and it's not even that I hate the characters, like you said. It's just there is no plot. Yeah. Wait a minute. Speaking of that, last episode, our conversation, most people agree with you on our Windbreaker review about what their definition of plot is, which is cool to see. I love those conversations, even though we kind of vary on that kind of conversation, but it was good to see that conversation. But this is the perfect definition where I think everybody can agree on. There's no real plot.
This just like I call it a situationship where shit just happens in a minute and 30. Then it's like a month later, a minute and 30, and it's like 2 months later. We don't even know. I don't even know what time, day, season, month, year.
They done graduated college at this point.
I don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's frustrating because I don't want to sit through that. I want to sit through some structured shit, which I have plenty of, to be fair.
It's a lot of good stuff this season. This just ain't it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, let's to run through some good shit that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But I Parry Everything fucking continue to be fantastic. Oshi No Ko season 2 continue to be fantastic.
Oh my god,
the spoiler conversation with that is going to be tremendous. Sorry. I do want to, in spoiler talk, I do want to talk about My Hero. If that's okay, if you would allow me to get my shit off.
For sure.
And like, what else? The Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army. I'm still enjoying that. While it's not one I would recommend, I would not. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. Cafe Terrace and its Goddess season 2 continues to be quintessentials, quintuplets. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Some shit dropped in that. What else? Oh, Elusive Samurai. This is what I want to dive into a little bit more. Elusive Samurai is very special, and it goes into the other two that we're going to dive into kind of back to back, which is Your Sleeper and the Elusive Samurai. So Elusive Samurai is great. It's fucking fantastic. It's probably top 5 of this season for me, honestly. Artistically, like visually, story, Conceptually, yep. I'm in. I'm 100% in. And it's so unique, man. I love the uniqueness of this typical shonen. Like, again, I called it Blue Dragon or Shaman Kings a couple of weeks ago. It's very much that still. It's not no different than those two, but it's mature and unique and beautiful. And it reminds me of Monogatari a lot too. Like, it's just amazing. Yeah,
it's and I would say the Monogatari is like a bit of the artistic expression, but also like the camera angles. Because I know you're not watching this Monogatari right now. It's crazy how good it looks, and it's always not because they take that very film director kind of like direction approach to every camera angle, and this sometimes has some of that same aesthetic. But for me, the driving factor is that like it is exactly what you said. It's mature because of how it started. It's very open with the blood. Yeah. It's very open with somebody's got to die.
Yep.
But it's also very beautiful because of the shift in the art style. It goes to that traditional character calligraphy kind of like drawing of the characters that demonstrate this like action moment and the hard sharp edges, and it's back to this brilliantly soft colored palette of like these pastels, almost back to like the action.
Yeah.
They hit so many different levels on it, but then it's also like I'm interested in the development of these characters already. Right. I am interested in how these characters will develop. I'm interested in how these interactions even go. So yeah, Elusive Samurai is crazy because it is special. It is definitely special, and I thought this was definitely going to be super shonen-y-esque, and I was not going to be tied to it. But yeah, bro, I'm invested.
There. Yep, same. And then to go to Your Sleeper because they're really similar but very different in a way. I said this a couple of times ago, but this is what Black Clover should have been. This is an actual good magic-based story of the underdog that I'm rooting for. Now, Fear mentioned in the Discord, sorry to bring you up again, Fear, and to kind of put you out there to all of our listeners, but he mentioned like he feel kind of tired of the atypical be usual, essentially is what he said when it comes to the motivations. And I strongly disagree. The reason why I strongly disagree is because the motivations is never love. It's never love in anime like this. It's I want to be the Shaman King, or that's another one. I want to be the Shaman King. I want to be the Pirate King. I want to be the Hokage. I want to be, et cetera, et cetera. This is taking more of a different approach. That's straightforward. That's more understandable than just a simple I want to be the king because I'm an underdog. Bullshit. Not bullshit, because I do enjoy every last one of those animes that I mentioned. Probably with the exception of Shaman King, I didn't like it that much, but. Like I enjoy One Piece, I enjoy Naruto, and I enjoy those of the ilk usually for the most part, except for Black Clover, obviously. For those of you who listen, know. But this is like I'm doing it for love, and that's a more reasonable, believable, understandable reason to chase after the one you love. Like, and we don't get that. It's always a love interest that's in there that he always fumble about and don't really ever have. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful.
And not even to mention that, like, there are characters in the show who justifiably so, like, looking at the concept and the build of the world, don't like him. And it's like, it makes sense, even with the lore that they gave us, that was quick, but like,
well done,
the lore that they gave us, that's what I'm saying. They delivered it adequately. But they've shown our MC to have so much grit already, so much like intelligence already. And they haven't dropped the ball with that yet.
What's best about it, I think, is the concept of starting from nothing. The concept is usual, right? Starting from nothing, getting powerful, and then becoming something eventually with that growth tier, right? It's in every shonen, Bleach, One Piece, great shows, and Naruto. It's always the usual. You start off kind of weak, you train, you get stronger. He starts off strong. I love that, because what it's doing is it's interweaving how he became that way and why, and it's much more believable in the way that it's imprinting that into the viewer's mind. Like, it's not over explaining everything. It's not shoving it down your face of what he can't do. It's, I'm gonna show you what I can do, and why I can do is gonna come as you watch. And I love that.
And he's working hard at things that you would normally think don't matter, but his knowledge about everything is important. And you know what sucks? It's what makes My Hero Academia kind of suck now.
Oh my God, tell him.
Because Midoriya was constantly researching everything.
Yes.
And then what? He dropped that off, and it kind of shows. It kind of shows. The MC here, he knows everything. He displays his knowledge on things, and then he moves. Yep. And I understand that eventually that might not be quite the thing, but we've built up. I imagine that we're going to continue to build up on that to where when he gets to the point to where he's not constantly showing his knowledge anymore, it feels a bit more believable than what My Hero Academia may be presenting to us. Bro. But it's not to compare them, because they are two very shonen-esque anime. But this one is just doing this so well, and I'm like I said, I'm very pleased that I chose this one as my sleeper this season.
Very good pick, very great pick. So yeah, I mean, with that's that, man. I do think it's truly get ready for get to know Mike Check Waifu, but I truly think it's one of the most special shonens that dropped, and I think I saw, maybe it was on Twitter, maybe it was on Blue Sky, it was on one of the social media apps that I'm never on anymore. I believe somebody said Wistoria needs more love, and I'm shocked that it's not getting it. Or was it Elusive Samurai? Either way, if either one of those are not getting love in the social spheres,
that's wild.
That's a problem, because these two are very, like, if people are clamoring over fucking Black Clover, they should salivate over Elusive Warrior and this, because it does everything that Black Clover don't, plus more. It's very believable characters, likable characters. Even what we was just introduced this episode, I'm liking them, and it was just 2.5 minutes at the end of the show.
I swear,
I'm enjoying it. Like, it's I can't wait to learn more about the world, because the way what they gave us, the reasoning behind it, I'm like, yeah, I'm in it. Because the only thing I was worried about is the overall world. We didn't get any knowledge in the overall world until today, when this new episode came out, which is Sunday, which was when we're recording this. But with the knowledge of what the world is right now, I want to know the why now. And because of that, I'm even more intrigued, because before it was just character development, and I love that shit. Learning about the character, learning the whys, learning the whats. It was great. It was shout out to his test too, by the way. That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right. Hey. Now this is part of the show where we get to know Mike Check Waifu. It's where one of us rolls a random number generator and the other reads a question associated with that number. We're going to do that now. And it's Tell's turn to read the question. It's my turn to roll the random number generator. I believe it's 100 questions, so, or maybe less, but whatever it is. Let's do it. 35.
Alrighty there. What is your favorite anime from the 2010s?
God, that's a good question. Damn, what a good question.
Ooh, let's see.
It's easy to go to any list. Just go to any list, type anime list. No, type browse if you want to join in with us. Type browse, go to ownanimelist.co, and then go to year and just type 2010. What is my favorite anime from the 2010s? What a year 2010 was. Holy shit, I watched a lot of stuff in 2010. Well, it wasn't in 2010, but I watched it later.
Mm-hmm. Well, so technically 2010s would be anything from 2010 to 2019.
Oh, I thought let's just do 2010.
We can do that.
Just to narrow it down. And then if we maybe add some more questions with the other years as well. Because that's a little bit hard to kind of do.
Make sure I put the ones I finished.
Interesting year 2010 was. You got stuff like MM, the ecchi one, Sakakiri. For my ecchi fans, y'all know what that is. Samurai Girls for my ecchi fans, y'all know what that is. Let's see. You know what I'm gonna go with? It's kind of an easy one. And I didn't think it was going to be that easy, but I don't see anything else that I can say is better than this particular one. But yeah, High School of the Dead was there too. That's dope. But the one I'm gonna go with is Angel Beats. It's one that I believe it's a great anime. It's a one-time watch only. You can only watch it once. And it's kind of a struggle. It's very dark, honestly, with bright undertones. But I think everybody should watch Angel Beats if you haven't already.
Oh.
2010 was a tough year because I was not watching anime at that time.
I was.
That was the year we graduated. So I was out in the streets.
You wasn't you? Hustling.
Yeah.
Partying.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't a clubber, for those of you who are newer. I was a party promoter at the time. That made me seem like a whore. Maybe I was. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Oh brother.
Oh God, 2010 was crazy.
I'm gonna go with Fate Unlimited Blade Works movie.
Can't lose there.
Oh, I did watch Cat Shit one, huh? Yeah, Fate Unlimited Blade Works. That's the one.
Good one. So for those of you who can't because you're driving, you got Durarara, Maid Sama, High School of the Dead, K-On! Season 2, Orihime, The Disappearance of Haru, Suzumiya. That's actually a really, really good one. It kind of blew my mind. The Tatami Galaxy. That was the one that Moody recommended. Rest in peace, Moody. She's not dead. I don't know what's going on with her, but she recommended to me. It has 85% on AniList, so a very highly rated show. I dropped it. I couldn't get with the quirkiness of it. It was too much. The World God Only Knows. Very funny harem slice of life show. A lot of decent stuff. Wasn't a great year though. Wasn't that great of a year.
I would agree. There's not a ton that was there. I did watch this one.
Heaven's Lost Property. Oh no, that was just some.
That was it. Yeah.
Heaven Lost Property was a good one. I think that was 2009 though. I think this was just like OVA. Interesting, man. What a weird year. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna spoil My Hero. Anything else you want to add to spoil?
I think we said My Hero, Oshi No Ko, and do you want to talk about Yatagarasu or
yeah?
No? Okay,
we can talk about Yatagarasu because I think it was gone long enough.
Yeah, and it's gonna be gone for another 26 days.
Yeah, unfortunately. Shout out to the Olympics.
Or we can always do Tower of God if you want to talk about that.
You want to do that instead of Yatagarasu?
Yeah, we can do Tower of God.
We'll do Tower of God. That's episode 3 of Tower of God season 2. That is episode 11 of My Hero season 7. And that is Oshi No Ko season 2, episode 3. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to episode 262 of My Check Waifu. The palindrome that rhymes with the title of the podcast are always my favorite. I gotta say, this is one of my favorite episodes we've done in a minute. I say that a lot, but this is a great episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you're here for the spoiler talk, and if you're new, the spoiler half is where we talk about shows that we mentioned before the break, before the music break, that we're going to spoil. Make sure, if you haven't caught up on these shows, you come back and listen, like a lot of you do. Shout out to episode like 170 something, getting a spike in listeners because they went back to spoiler talk for whatever episode that was so long ago. But now, let's go to My Hero. Starting with My Hero, episode 11. Did you watch this episode as well?
No. I mean, okay. I read it,
and I could tell you what happens. Yeah, so you will remember. But this is the episode where, after Shigaraki was fighting with Bakugo, and Lemillion pops up to save Bakugo because he's about to get trounced, and then Bakugo gets he gets awakened and gets a few moves off. But after he gets those few moves off, Shigaraki's like, "Yo, you thought I was feeling you? You thought I was feeling you?" And then blew him back. And the implications is that he died because Beshina said his heart or whatever. I don't believe he's dead. It's just My Hero. I believe it's the usual though. This particular episode.
Oh, dude died in this anime.
What's particular about this particular episode is that it again gets in its own fucking way. If this was just that fight, only that fight, it would be a great fight. It was a bunch of past shit that's in the middle of this fight that's popping up, like with what's the seniors crew called? Light some I don't forget what they called him. The dude that eats stuff that can turn into anime. He did his little plasma beam. The girl that was a part of his team and Lemillion, they put their backstory in the middle of this fucking big ordeal that was so irritating. I'm like, get the fuck out now is not the time to share this information about these characters, which I get. Listen, I get why My Hero does it because that's the only chance in time that they have to talk about these other characters that are a part of the show because they don't get their own episodes. I get that. I truly get that. But it is the position in which these are placed that is god awful. Just start the episode with this shit. Start the episode with it. Let it be 15 minutes long and then let the rest just be straight hands, straight fighting.
The issue is, I think the manga did the same thing, bro.
It's so irritating. And
normally I actually defend the manga because of the pacing of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the manga did the exact same thing right here. Because I remember exactly what you're talking about. It almost like deviated from what was going on with like Bakugo. So like you could have given us more, but you deviated into giving us backstory that like, I want to see what's happening. We need a battle. You know what I mean?
Bakugo just popped off, and now after he gets fucked up, you switch to Lemillion saving him, and then you go into this backstory. After Lemillion saving him, you go into this backstory, and then Sun Eater's. Then they go back to the fight, and Sun Eater's charging up this fucking beam because the old chick was talking about it, and then they're like, the beam is so powerful, he's super strong, blah 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 blah, and it goes into the backstory of why and what and when, and it's 15 minutes long, and I'm like, fuck, I don't care about this shit right now. I do care that it's happening. I do care that you're telling me. I understand the importance of that particular point of the story. I get it. Wrong time, man. Wrong fucking time. And it's getting in this way. It's dragging the story on. It's making it longer. Like
tripping over their own feet.
Tripping over their own feet. Just fight. When you fight, then fucking come in, like make it 12 episodes, then bring in Izuku because we already know it's about to happen soon. You're going to see Bakugo. And this is just me just gut checking myself, I guess. You're going to see Bakugo down. He's going to flip the fuck out and pop the fuck off on Shigaraki. It kind of seemed obvious, but it could be different. But even if it is different, guess what? I'm not going to be surprised because I don't give a fuck, man. I just don't care. I'm so tired of this show being, and the problem is again, atmosphere, music, animation looks great. I love the characters still. I just don't care about the story anymore. The story is bringing this down several points, and I'm talking on a scale of might check waifu. The story and the way it's being told, I guess it'll be story and pacing at the same time, or plot and pacing at the same time, is to a fucking 3. It's that bad for me that I'm like, come on, I'm over it. Give me the shit I want. And then next week, it looks like it's from the preview, Dabi's still alive and still about to fight Shigaraki again. Like, I don't need that no more, man. We don't need this anymore because now that's going to get away of Izuku getting to where you got to get to, I think.
And that's exactly how I feel. As a manga reader, It has not improved. And at this point, this is where I believe, Brolo, this is exactly where I believe I was kind of like taking breaks. Like I'll watch a little bit and then take a break. Read a little bit, take a break. Read a little bit, take a break. Because it feels like, and I hate to say this, it's going to start feeling repetitive.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be with this kind of climactic battle, if that makes sense.
100%. It's already doing that now, and it just virtually started. But
this is where it felt, because this is literally the same thing that happened previously. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not with the Bakugo thing, but this is literally what already happened. We got into a big fight with Shigaraki. You leave. Now we meeting up with Shigaraki again to get into a big fight again. And then what happens next? It's
in its own way so much, bro. It's the problem is, and I talk about this too. Shout out to Rob Stone, who feels the same way we do, I believe. It's just that, like, why, like, we're over it, bro. We are over it now. Like, what Rob Stone said, now I totally agree with him. I loved My Hero. My Hero is the reason why. You remember when I talked about in 2010 how I stopped watching anime? My Hero is the reason why I came back to anime. It truly was. It's honestly has a special place in my heart. But now I can't care because I'm like, dude, we've been doing this shit for 7 seasons, and I know it's a fucking money train. Dude, take a page from Fire Force book. Shout out to Fire Force season 3 finally announcing it's the last season. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
That's all we need. Demon Slayer was going to wrap up in 3 movies. That's all we need. I don't need more because it's making a shit ton of money, and Demon Slayer making probably twice as much money as My Hero. I'm tired of, well, with 7 seasons, probably not, but I'm hyperbolic, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's truly like, I feel sorry because what it reminds me of, and I'm about to, if you don't mind, Tel, I'm gonna transition to Oshi No Ko. It reminds me.
They talked about it.
Yes, Tel.
That's literally what I was thinking.
It reminds me of what they talked about in Oshi No Ko season 2, episode 3. It's the money train of shonen and how it continues to bring in money to these producers that it can overstay as welcome and become fodder and trash and garbage, but they're going to keep doing it because people are going to keep watching it and they're going to keep falling in love with it, and people are going to keep making excuses for it because it's their favorite shit of all time. And that's exactly what happens to My Hero. Every time I talk about My Hero, there's always somebody. That's why I put an asterisk when I put my tweet out on My Hero, because I don't like typing a name anymore on Twitter, because it's always somebody taking up for it. And honestly, I don't think there's an excuse for this type of behavior when it comes to just dragging something.
No, there is no excuse for how My Hero's dragging it. But Oshi No Ko,
bruh,
you want to transition?
Yes, what a beautiful episode, man.
Well, every episode is beautiful.
Facts.
But this episode was so, well, what they do, and they try and make you forget that this is a damn murder mystery.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I was like, whoa.
This is a murder mystery, bro. And and this episode was so detailed. Mm-hmm. And it was so emotional but logical. And it was like, it was all over the place, but it wasn't, if that makes sense. It talked about the perspective of the actors themselves. It talked about the perspective of the script writer. It talked about the perspective of the actual creator, and it made me think about like all the anime adaptations we get, right, and why they feel so bad to us. And then you get the writer's perspective, and you always want the writer involved. And I remember, so me and Monique are literally watching it together, and she's like, "Why is the author acting like a B word?" And I'm like, yeah, but is she? Like, I kind of get it. I kind of get why. And then they explain more as to why. Yeah. Because it feels like your art, your work is being dumped on, and you don't want that.
And it gave a perfect example for what happened in season 1, sorry. With the other authors, her assistant, they were assistants to each other at one point, and now she's like, yo anime was trash. And it's because you gave them free reign of your work, of your hard work. You gave them free reign and they shit on it. I'm not about to let that happen to mine, and that's completely understandable. Yeah. But in that perspective, that her assistant at the time told her, like, listen, people work hard on this shit, regardless of if it's bad or not. And everything that they were conversating about in that particular moment was amazing. It was an amazing look at a side of something that you could tell that the writer of this show and the creator of this show knows a lot about. And it was a look behind the scenes that we don't know shit about any of that. Like none of it. I didn't understand none of it until they broke it down. Like, listen, this is why, this is what we do and why we do it and why we work so hard. It was an eye opening to something that we don't understand. And listen, we're podcast hosts. There's no fucking way in hell I will claim. I almost got 1,000 anime under my belt. There was no way I would claim to know what goes on in the realm of a manga artist, creator, and an anime artist, writer, creator, or a play artist. I don't know. It's not my world. I'm not in that world. I'm just here to consume it. So I can't even pretend like I do. And if you pretend like you understand this and you're not in that world, stop. Because this is so important.
You want to know what we talked about that made me think about this episode? And I thought about it when I was watching this episode, specifically towards the end. Mm-hmm. You remember how we watched Haikyuu and you said you know nothing about volleyball? Mm-hmm. But they broke it down for you to where you like, nah, I kind of understand. Yeah. I'm watching this, and I'm watching it mostly purely from the artist aspect.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm watching this. I know, like I'm thinking about when I was in college and I got these deadlines I got to meet. I got to do this many drawings. I got to do this many projects to put them together. I got to put 30 different pictures together and make them all fold into this long fold out book. And I'm thinking about, all right, I got to time this. I also got to do this sculpture. I got to do this. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like,
it's not even comparable.
It's not though. You know what I mean? It's not, because I'm doing this for a grade. I ain't doing this for a living at that point, right?
Exactly. It's so crazy.
I can put myself in the shoes and think like, man, but you're doing this all by yourself. You know what I mean? You ain't got nobody directing you. This is all just coming from your brain. And then they talk about the editor. The editor's job is to make sure that this manga or anime never ends. Then you got like the other people who are meant to do like the artist herself in this episode. Yes, she's the one producing the actual book or whatever, right? Or the artwork for it. But then you got people who put the book together. You got people who do the promotional.
She's writing it too, by the way.
Yeah, and she's writing it too. Then she's overlooking the toys and the merch. But then you got people who got to actually coordinate that website and everything, put it together. She knows her part, but she don't know everybody else's part. And that's the vision of it that you were just saying. She knows her part. She don't know what the adapters for the play. She don't know what they have to go through.
Right.
And she don't know
timings and everything. And in the fact, what the perspective that it put it in, because like I said, I don't know nothing about this. It doesn't matter what I've done in my past or whatever. There's no way I would possibly know the stressful situation of trying to write something weekly to continue a story. It's hard. It's too hard to even fathom. But the fact that they get paid pennies hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to know that these manga artists and story writers and like creators of series that we love gets paid chump change to create something so magnificent that we don't understand their hard work until this fucking episode of Oshi No Ko. Oshi No Ko completely changed my world, and maybe maybe this is why I'm a little bit more forgiving to my wife has no emotions or failure frame and shit that I would, if you asked me last season, would not be watching. Like it would be less than that, because guess what me and Tel still have to do? We still have to do our ReZero rewatch. So I got a lot of shit to do that I haven't been able to do because seasons have been massive. So, but I want to give stuff more chances. And like you said, and like we talked about, it gave us great perspective as to what's going on with My Hero and why it's struggling, because I feel like the author probably wanted to end this shit after season 4. Like he wanted to let this shit be done, but you can't when you're this popular. When you blow the fuck up, you're on Toonami, merch is everywhere. You can't walk anywhere without seeing Izuku or Bakugo, or Dabi. Like it's just, you can't go anywhere because it's just that impactful. And now you got a fucked up story because you should have ended it 3-4 seasons ago and you can't because you're a money machine. Oh, it's fun, man. It's a fun. Oshi No Ko is one of the best shows too, to me. Honestly, right. It could be top 15 easily, I think, because of how because of how well it's written. And again, to go to what you said, it's a fucking murder mystery.
Yeah, I'm watching this episode and I'm like, okay, who's the murderer? Like, yeah, I loved everything about that, but I'm like, this is also a murder mystery. Y'all did so good at explaining the background of like what it is in this entertainment industry. Entertainment, right? That they said that several times. And I'm like, we're gonna get back. We're gonna be so enveloped in the fact that this is about entertainment that when they present the murder mystery stuff, we're gonna be completely like, oh my God, I forgot. Yeah. It's gonna be like, yo, this show is crazy.
What that's gonna that's gonna make that all the more impactful though, right? Like, cause he's in this industry to find out because his mom was in this industry and basically was killed for it. I don't know why. And this is a weird gut check. Hear me out. It probably not is the case. And manga readers laugh at me all you want while you listening, but why do I feel like she faked her death?
Because of the intro, bro.
Is that why?
I felt that too, and I'm like, no, she can't be back.
No, she's gone. I
would be so. Hear me out. The only way I can accept it is if, like, I don't know, she got isekai too, or reborn too. But it's like, even then, that's what I'm saying. I don't want it. So it's like that, because that would deter and deviate from the story. It would make the story so much less impactful.
My thought is to be like, she's always been there in a way that we just don't know about. And this is the eyes. It's the weird gut check, but it's she's always been there in a way we don't know about, watching from a distance, because she's had this trouble of, she probably did get stabbed, probably survived, and probably is in hiding to protect her, not only herself but her kids. And that's just a weird polo thing. And if it's like that, that'll be the only way for me to be fathomable, which would make the story so interesting because of the whole quote unquote murder mystery part, because that can be the mystery as you're progressing through the series. Wait, maybe she's not dead. Like, it'll be fucking cool. I still think
you can watch her from afar the whole time.
Like, it could be so fucking cool if it's done that way. But if not, it's still great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an idea I have. I'm probably wrong.
I will be.
Christian, the archivist, mark this down. But like, I love it though. I love it either way, even if it's not that.
What I'm about to say is that like, if that happens to be the case, I'm gonna be salty, because now I'm gonna go back and rewatch like every episode to see if she's in the background somewhere.
And Oshi No Ko would do some shit like that.
They would do some shit like that. Have her in the background, like they put her in the fucking audience in the intro. They would have her just sitting there, but like so incognito. I'd be salty.
Because you think about it, right? The situation is the stalker got pissed because she had a family. Like that this the reason why he went crazy and did what he did, because she became, you know, a family woman, I think. But it's also indicated that the father was the one that did it. Like, who fucking knows? Like, it's just,
or paid the guy to do it.
Or paid the guy to do it. Yeah. So it's probably, it's so much that it's so deep that I don't know, man. I love it. Okay. Now to transition to the last but certainly not least, Tower God season 3. What do you feel? Right. I read it. I read probably past this point for sure.
Yeah, I read past this point too.
But don't remember it at all. I don't remember any of this shit whatsoever.
I did. But so we know that essentially Bam's name is changed right now. He working with the thugs. The thugs.
The fucking ugly.
Yeah. But we also know that he is indeed that dude.
Sure.
Now,
do you care though? I'm asking you this as my brother. Do you care about what you're watching?
Well, so, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this, because I feel like I got the vibe on Twitter/X that people were like not watching it or dropping it or something like that, right? And this part isn't the part I'm excited about. I'm more excited about, I guess, what's coming at the end of this season and the beginning of the next season. But it's like,
I remember.
I feel like they are, because they still brought Rachel up a little bit, and I obviously I get it, because we know the story a little bit past where we're getting past this, right. And it's like I am ready for Bam to be a little bit more serious in general. I feel like that will drive the story better.
Which he is now.
He is. So when we get to like that next step, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more driven in terms of the show going forward.
Yeah. Here's a problem I have. This in the manga was quick. It was so fast.
This is one chapter, two. Well, one chapter, but
probably a couple, but it was so quick that it feels like this is dragging for one already. All right. And then two, this is a different studio and you can fucking tell. This is done by somebody named Answer Studio. Answer Studio has done nothing you know. I can bet your bottom dollar Answer Studio hasn't done a shit anything that you know about at all. Instead of telecom studios, you could tell it looks like shit in my opinion.
And the question that I would have with this, right, is how many episodes is Tower God season 2 going to be? Is it going to be just 12 episodes, or is it going to be like 24? Because with, like you said, if this didn't have any reason to be this long
at all,
we could have been blown past this. So for me, if it's going to be as dragged out like this is going to turn into that pacing that we got from, what the fuck was that? That really bad manhwa that they did.
Got a high school. Yep. I don't want it to turn into that because the first season was so. It was way more concise. It was way more digestible. It was way more interesting so far. And like you said, I agree. It doesn't feel interesting because why are we still here? Right.
This is episode 3.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels strange, man. It just, I don't know. And it could be because, right, I've read it. As soon as Tower of God season 1 ended, I've read it. 100 something chapters past. Like, whatever it was, I can't remember, but it was pretty far. And like I was invested. Then I stopped because I'm like, damn, I'm ready for season 2. It took 2-3 years.
But that's also the thing, right? Is that and when I say that the issue with specifically what we have going on is that for 3 episodes, nothing's really happened yet. Yep. Like stuff has happened, but nothing's happened.
Yep.
Nothing detrimental, nothing important, nothing that like I said is pushing the story necessarily in the direction that we know it's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why are we dwelling at this moment when I feel like we could have done more?
I think it's screen time. I think it's screen time of the other characters too. Like, it's so much. It feels like yeah. Like why? And then I do believe they had like a 40-minute recap episode before this one that I should have watched, and I probably would have felt better about that if I did. I might go back and watch it just to see if I feel more invested. Yeah. But right now, we were singing his praises. We love Tower of God, even though Crunchyroll ruined it themselves by shoving it down everybody's throat by giving it every award in their own award show, and they're the producers of it. But like,
there's still things I like. I still like some of the characters that I know that we're going to see more of in the future. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't read more, there's characters who are quite literally not telling the truth already, but it's like, it's still interesting to see where it'll go. Right. And it's like, why are we, it's like I said, why are we still dawdling around at episode 3 right here?
Yeah. I might go back and pick up the manga again and start from this point and see if it's similar, because I got to, my curiosity is piqued because I need to know what the fuck is going on. But anyway,
yeah, I feel like it blew past that.
100%. I do too. Because I was where I ended, and trust me, I spent maybe a week reading it. I feel like I'm like, what? Like, we're so much further than what the like. It was so fast. But I digress. Listen, do me a favor. You can all follow me on Twitter or all social media. Sorry, at Polo Born Fly.
You can follow me at King Taliano.
You can follow our social medias at Might Check Waifu on Twitter and at Might Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, wherever. And as always, Might check.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu. that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that